Good morning. Yep, we've made it to the Prairies again. So yesterday we got that load unloaded in trail right away. It was just boom, boom, bada bing, done. Got a dispatch almost right away that just said Klesnikov. No information, just Klesnikov. Basically, we're not quite ready for you, but head that way. By the time we pulled into Klesnikov, which is just north of, it's a lumber mill just north of Castlegar. Throat hurts today. By the time we pulled in there, we got the full dispatch. Headed to Lethbridge again, here in Alberta. Enjoying the drifting snow. Beautiful clear morning, but it's chilly out. Minus 15, minus 16. Luckily, it's just a few straps, no tarp on this load again. Beautiful land of the big sky. Had no issues going over Kootenay Pass this time. Just burned right across. Although the pullout that I pulled into, as soon as I pulled into it, I'm like, uh-oh. Solid ice. Thick, solid ice. I've been hearing wide load on the radio for the last little while, so that must be them. But yeah, as soon as I pulled in, I'm like, okay, we've been driving for the last how many hours? My tires are all hot. If I stop in this pullout, we're gonna melt all these little divots in the ice, and we're not moving. And you've got 30 wheels all melt these small little divots, you're stuck. So I came to a stop, and then waited just a few seconds, moved a little bit. Waited a few seconds, moved a bit. Don't wait a minute. A minute is too long. You're stuck. Did that a couple times. Gave it a little more time, kept moving. Then got ready for bed and just moved one more time before going to bed. And today morning, we were still in slight divots, so it just very gently went forward, backward, just kind of rocket, and then popped out of the divots. Yeah, if I hadn't moved last night a couple times, there was no way I would have started today morning. Looks like they've got some snow here since last week. Last week there was no snow here. Now they've got a little skiff of snow here. Kind of beautiful. Little dusting snow it gets really windy, it'll be whiteout conditions in this kind of weather. The sun is just coming up just over the horizon to the south of us. We're going eastbound, and yes, in the winter the sun comes up from the south in Canada. Southeast. Sunrise is southeast, and it sets southwest. Up with this guy. Well, I told dispatch I'd be there at 9:45 customer time, and my GPS now says 9:23, so I'm gonna be earlier than I told dispatch. That's okay. I like to be as accurate as I can. I don't like to be early or late, but I'd rather be earlier than I said I would be, but not by much. I want the time I give them to be reliable. I guess I didn't take into consideration that I've got the GPS set up for mountain driving right now, so it gives me more time than driving in the flatland. I should switch to my other profile. I've got 3 profiles set up in the GPS. One of them I use when I'm running empty, and that profile would work great in the prairies. In the prairies, it doesn't matter if you're empty or loaded, you're pretty much driving the same speed. So, and then I've got US loaded, driving through the mountains with a US load. Basically, I'm lighter than Canadian loaded, and of course the last setting is Canadian loaded, and that's the setting I'm running on right now. I should switch it over to empty to give me a more accurate time. Made it to episode 8 now on No Dumb Questions podcast. Still loving it. highway begins 2 kilometers. We're approaching Fort, what's it called again? Fort McLeod? I don't know if that sounds right. Well, we'll soon see. Yeah, other than a couple little skiffs of clouds up there, it's just a beautiful blue sky. It's pretty awesome. In the sun, it won't feel as cold outside either, so that'll be good. Down to a quarter tank of fuel. And got about 60 kilometers to go. Quarter tank of fuel, I've got an easy, safe 200 kilometers to drive, probably 300 kilometers of drive time left. Got 8 hours off last night, which means if I get a US load after this, I can only drive to the border, and then I gotta stop for 10 hours. But I figure by the time we have this load delivered and another load loaded, I'm not losing that many hours if I do get a US run. And likely we won't be able to load till tomorrow morning again. Tomorrow morning anyway. Because they're probably going to send us empty to the Kootenays or something. I mean, they could send us to Calgary, get a load there or something. Not sure. Either way, we're going to run empty for a while. Yeah, and this is a heavy load. Heavy, heavy, heavy load. My drives are right maxed out with a full tank of fuel, like right there. And my bridge is dead on. I hit the scale and it says 24,000. It's like, yes, not over. My pop was 16.7 something, so I'm with a full tank of fuel, I'm like 300 kilograms short of being maxed out. Southbound a little bit here. Fort McLeod. McLeod. I kind of like this town. As we exit here, there's a grocery store on the left-hand side with easy access to big rigs. So it's easy enough to pull in on that service road, park there and go in and do grocery shopping or visit Timmy's or a town that hasn't put up no parking signs everywhere. Oh, I've never seen all these Tesla chargers here. One truck pulled in by the Timmy's, 2 trucks, 3 trucks, 4, 5, 6. I think we turn back out of the sun here, but we'll see. Signs at Fort McLeod Auction Market. That's cattle auction. I just realized I didn't answer the comment in full. One of you guys asked 2 questions. I answered one of the questions, but I forgot the second question. Second question was, what exactly do you check when you do brake checks? So you don't actually check how much brake pad you have at brake checks. That you do on a pre-trip, you know how much brake pads you have left on. So you know how much brakes you have in the morning when you do your pre-trip. At brake checks, all you're doing is checking to make sure none of the brakes have got anything faulty, nothing has failed. So you look under the trailers, look at the slack adjuster. It's basically the little pivot arm that applies the brakes. I'm not sure how to explain it, but the arm should be sitting at a 90-degree angle if it is set right. If all of a sudden it's not sitting at a 90-degree angle, something has failed. That brake is not going to work properly. So you check that all those slack adjuster arms are at a 90-degree angle. You also touch every hub. Touching every hub, you can feel if all of a sudden there's one that's hot. Are your brakes overheated? Touching a hub doesn't mean necessarily it's a brake problem. It could also be a bearing problem. So if your hub is all of a sudden overheating, you've got a problem there. Don't continue driving. The other thing you do is you touch every tire to make sure one tire is not overheating. If one tire is overheating, that means there's a tire pressure problem. Your brakes don't do you any good if you don't have tires. So part of a brake check is to check your tires. You also thump them with a hammer to make sure they all have air pressure in them. Thumping the tires will tell you if there's air in them. Touching them, if one tire is hotter than the other, it'll tell you that one is under pressure. My trailers have a tire max system on them, basically self-inflating. So the trailers always have self-inflated tires. I never have to worry about tire pressure on the trailers. I still go thump anyway, because the tire can still fail. The white light on the trailer should tell me if a tire has failed, but I learned the one time I had a flat tire and the light never came on because the actual inflation system went faulty. Yes, I was trying to, I didn't mean to wake you up.
Heart attack, man.
I woke Jess up by giving her a heart attack. I was just trying to move the sunshade so that I wasn't getting blinded to the south of me or blinded beside. The sun's shining right into the passenger window. The click to unclick the visor gave her a heart attack. I'm sorry, you can go back to sleep now. Once you get your heart rate under control. Your eye? Did you punch yourself? My apologies. I was getting blinded. And then of course the other things to check on brake checks is making sure your load's secure, your lights are all clean, stuff like that. First question he asked was, oh, what a power divider is. So in your personal vehicle, your car, your pickup, only one of the tires, the front or rear, gets power. Well, let's say you got a 4x4 pickup and you don't have 4x4 engaged. So you only have one tire in the rear getting power. Oh, that pickup has a flat tire. When you turn on four-wheel drive, now you have one tire on the back and one tire on the front getting power. So that's exactly what a power divider lock does. On a big rig, you've got the steer axle and then two drive axles. Well, different big rigs have different amount of drive axles. Some big rigs only have one drive axles. They don't have a power divider lock. Some big rigs have 3 drive axles. They've got 2 power divider locks. So basically right now, my truck, only the front drive axle is getting power. The rear axle is just free, rolling along, not getting any power. There's only one set of duals on the front axle, left or right, whichever is the easiest to get to, whichever is the easiest to push for the engine, or the gears, whatever. I'm no technician, no mechanic, not at all mechanical. Only one set of dualies is getting power. If I hit that power divider lock, both axles now get power. The front axle and the rear axle get power. So now I've got 2 sets of duals pushing me up the mountain. And then each axle has another switch. I've got the front axle diff lock and the rear axle diff lock. Now instead of only one side of the tire, only one side of the axle getting power, both sides are locked in. The reason cars and trucks don't have differentials that are locked up all the time is you can't make a corner with it locked up. If you're going around a corner, the inside side of the axle of the corner is going to be going slower than the outside of the axle is going. Yeah, sure. Does that make sense? The next corner coming up is a right-hand corner. The right-hand tire has to go at a slower speed than the left-hand tire because they both have to keep up as you go around that corner. If I had the diff locks on, I am forcing both of those tires to go the same speed, which means I can't make the corner. I mean, I can. It's going to be very rough on the tires and the axles, and the differentials, everything, all the gears, everything. Very hard on it. But I will make it around the corner with everything locked up. Not healthy at all. If the road is icy and you have the power divider lock on and both diff locks on, so that is 8 tires pulling you straight. They do not want to turn because both sides, left and right, want to go in the same speed. As soon as you get to the corner, one has to go faster than the other. On a slippery road, you turn the steering wheel, you have 2 tires trying to outdo 8 tires. If those 2 front tires don't have grip, you're going straight. You're driving right off that mountain or right into a cliff. So using these, climbing a mountain, very dangerous. Very dangerous if you forget to leave them on. Coming down a mountain, you hit the first corner at full speed and all of a sudden your truck does not turn. But the reason why they're there, even if they're dangerous, you can't make it up steep mountains on icy roads without locking everything up. So you have to use them conservatively. If you're going slow and the steers don't turn, you have a chance to stop. And I've had that. Happen a couple of times where I've come into a corner and I've got everything locked up and the steers just don't do a thing, and all you can do is stop, unlock everything, and then continue. Never had it while climbing and slipping and stuff like that, but I've had stuff locked in a flat parking lot or whatever. Everything is snowy and icy and I've locked everything up, and all of a sudden, hey, I can't make that turn. And sometimes what I do is I leave everything locked because I know if I unlock it, I'm stuck. So I stop, turn the steering wheel the other direction, back up a bit, turn it back the other direction, and drive forward, just back and forth like that. You slowly make the turn while you're still locked up. I thought those were good questions. Because we often say things as if everybody understands what we're talking about. If you don't understand something, just ask. There are no dumb questions. Back to that podcast. It's so beautiful. I know the prairies are boring if you live in them. But but when you don't live in them and you only get to see them once in a while, they're absolutely beautiful, especially different seasons. I think my favorite is closer to fall when all the canola, I guess it'd be late summer, all the canola is just this beautiful yellow field. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna call it. If always something else cool comes up, as always, I'll always add clips to it, but thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed. And we'll see you tomorrow. Probably back in the mountains again. Very unlikely that we won't be back in the mountains. And yes, forward flashes are much louder in International than Kenworth or Peterbilt. Somebody commented that in one of the... Yep, International definitely has a lot louder flashers. What a beautiful day. Unloaded. Took a little while to get unloaded. One of their two forklifts is broken down, so he had to keep the mill running while unloading me. So he unloaded a bundle or two and quickly went, moved stuff in the mill, and then come and unloaded a bundle and then quickly back to the mill. Not really a mill, assembly line. They basically just take 2x8s, and bolt them together and make them into mats for construction and environmental mats. Basically, if you're going to build something or build a temporary road, you put these mats down so you don't destroy the environment underneath those mats. Instead of making these deep ruts in the road, you got these mats on the road or on the field or whatever. I see the mountains in the background. A lot of the blue sky is disappearing as we go back westbound, and we're going into the wind now, so it's terribly loud. So I'm running empty to Creston. That's a good 400 kilometers, give or take. They want me to load in Creston before 3:30 today. Looks like we can do it. And that load's going to Kamloops. It's tarp load though, so my tarps are pretty frozen, so hopefully it's only -3 now. Hopefully it goes above 0 and thaws the tarps out a bit before I have to unroll them. or else it's not going to be a lot of fun. There's some big mountains ahead of us, but as we get closer to the mountains, we get down into these little valleys, and you don't get the viewpoints of these mountains. Oh, it's kind of cool. You can see how windy it is. I don't think this is going to show up on video, but on some of the peaks of the mountains, you can see this snow drifting over the top. It's got to be a heck of a snowstorm on the top of those mountains right now. Looking at the mountains, it's like, so exactly where are we driving through these? Who's the crazy person that said this is where we're going to get through the mountains? I wonder how many dead-end surveys did they do before picking a route? Gusty. That's kind of a nice viewpoint. I guess they never really built roads through here. The first route through here was the railroad. I guess in the pioneering days, Canada fought hard to get a railroad to connect east to west to make a sovereign country. While the U.S. had, northern U.S., they worked hard for the railroad, but further south they worked hard at Panama. Boating the stuff around from east to west. The mountain right in front of us has got quite the drifts coming off of it. might be clouds coming off of it. Yeah, I see quite a few that have these big snow drifts or cloud-like features coming off the top of the mountain. Creek, municipality of Pincher Creek. Never really drive through the town of Pincher Creek. It's a little off the highway, but it might be a city by now. Heck, maybe it was a city when I worked there, who knows. Didn't pay that much attention. Just was looking at the weather. We're gonna have some interesting weather later on today when it gets dark. Paulson is snowing right now. Highway 33 looks like a mess. North to Falkland looks like it's a complete mess in snow, so I'm gonna be driving in some snowstorms, I think. Hopefully I make it over the Kootenai before chain up comes up.
It's not there yet.
Should be interesting. You can kind of see the clouds coming off the mountains there now, the snow drifts. I don't know if they're actually snow drifts, but it is clouding over though. It's definitely getting stormy and stormier. Still incredibly windy.
It was 50
50-kilometer wind gusts, or wind, sustained wind. Yeah. I mean, it was windier, more windy last time we came down this way, but still very windy. It's got a nice new Mac. definitely reduced these speed limits. This last year they reduced speed limits through here, and it's just confusing. It's like oh, 80 here, 100 here, 80 here, 50 here, 60 there, 50 here, all over the place. It's like, what speed am I going here again? My GPS says 80 right now, but we all know that last time said 50. Academic and athletic meeting. Want to go to the meeting? It's coming up on a Monday. National Historic Site. I wonder what the historic site is. It's a secret? I bet you the site is the old downtown or whatever. Something mining related. Well, we're back to 60. So it sounds like they're going to load us tonight, even if we're a little late. They just got a phone number for me to call the forklift driver. He's going to go home and come back to work to load me. I guess I just have the paperwork all ready ahead of time. Hopefully I can take that many bundles. At least it's not going across the border or anything, so it's a little simpler. We can just get going. Even if the paperwork's not 100%, we just edit it by hand, and then maybe they can send the updated version tomorrow. Kind of nice. I'm staying busy so far. Drive to conditions. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yep, let's do that. Conditions are going to get worse for us. Wow, it's like a sandblast there.
Dust advisory.
Dust advisory because it's dry enough before the snow hits with the wind, and all the dust is picking up in the Kootenays and in Okanagan. Once snow hits, the dust advisory will go away because it gets wet, but into the mountains we go. Oh, there's a wide-loaded veneer coming this way. I wonder where that was picked up at. I know my guess is Adcon Trail, but there may be a veneer place near to the Alberta border. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Just said you're welcome. Are you watching these videos too? When she's at home, she actually watches the videos. Makes you feel like you're on the road, at least for an hour or so. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't have to chain up anywhere and all goes well. We shall see. We shall see. Adios.